Before this video begins, please remember, viewer discretion and common sense are advised. Leave no man behind. That is the age-old saying. And even in this lost time, I believe it still resonates with a lot of us. Perhaps. Perhaps not. But to me, it's been on my mind. When the world seems against most people, the world is not helping most people. It's only helping a small percentage of people who are very well off. And it's only self-perpetuating. Once you get up there, it's hard to come back down. And when you're down, it's hard to rise up. In a perfect world, no man would be left behind. Nobody. Everybody would thrive. Everybody would succeed. And of course, in a place like this, we have failure. Everywhere we turn. It's interesting. Some of the things I see are people being ignored or seen as other. Or perhaps they're not even seen as human at all. Not a thought in most people's mind is about this person. They're basically a ghost. And a lot of people feel this way. A lot of people are treated this way. And why is that? It's because they're not perfect, but nobody is. But we glamorize perfection so much that even like the delusion that somebody is perfect is enough to dissuade us from interacting with normal people. We see it every day. People thriving. People living their best life. People going out there and being hotshot success stories. But the truth is, that's not your average person. That's a very small percentage of human beings on this earth that go out and succeed like that. And those people have their life ahead of them. But for most people, that's not the case anymore. We don't have the same opportunities. We don't have the same lifestyles. And because it's seen, because it's honed in on, it's in front of your face at every turn, in the palm of your hand. It's almost seen as normal to be uber successful, which in turn makes it shameful to not be. You feel like a failure when you're just a normal person. You feel like you're not doing enough when you're getting by. You don't feel the success that you have. You don't appreciate the things you do have because you see all the success. Not a year goes by without me wondering if I'm doing enough. Without me wanting to do more because I feel like I have to. Because I feel like I have to be at a certain level to be a person, a human being. And because of the world we do live in right now, that is the case, I would think. The world leaves you behind if you're not excelling, if you're not above average. That's not a perfect world. And I don't think that if you do feel that way, you should let it get you down. No, instead, you have to realize you are in a good predicament. You're just not in the best predicament. You're not in the predicament that you're being shown every single day. Which calls into question why you're even looking at other people's success stories if it's only going to make you feel worse. If you do have a competitive spirit after all, you will want to watch these, videos with other people's successes to kind of rival them in a way. But if you're not all about that, and it's mostly making you feel jealousy, making you feel envy, and making you feel bad about yourself, then turn the phone off. Just turn the phone off. Because the world within your phone is not the real world. It's a window to the luxury apartments at the top. But why would you look down when you're able to see the top? You have access to all these people in the world that do better than you at everything. And all you do is scroll and just watch them live their best life, being happy, being successful. And because you're not at their level, you feel envious. Like, why did they get this blessing and not me? But that's because you're being overly exposed to all this stuff. It's being shoehorned that, you're not doing enough. That's the message that these people are trying to get across. That you're not enough. They're trying to make you feel bad about your own life, and it causes more immorality and sin. We have to forego this desire to envy other people. And yes, I do call it a desire. Most of the 7 deadly sins are desires. And it's all revolving around your pride. Because envy is essentially comparing yourself to others. Feeling left behind because that's the world we live in. It's the case, but it shouldn't be this way. So there goes the question now. What can we do to make this situation better? How can we improve from rock bottom? That's what I propose for you today. To think about. To wonder. Why do we feel so left behind? Why do we feel so forgotten about? So unseen? Why do most of our efforts feel in vain? Most of our passion, most of our projects, most of the stuff we put our effort into feels thrown to the wayside. But then you see these other people who go out there and they actually receive the success that you want. In a perfect world, this would not be the case. Everybody would be successful. Everybody would be uplifting for everyone else. No one would be envious. No one would be jealous. But because we are, we want to drag other people down, especially the people around us, the closest to us. We don't want to see them succeed like we see these people on our phones, because we fear they're going to outgrow us. Yeah. And it's a terrible thought to have, but it's the truth. It's just the world we live in. A world full of sin. And while I wish we could do better, I think it's important to understand what our nature is, what our fundamental values come from. How can we do good if we don't know what is wrong? I've had a real good day today. One of my best in a while. The weather is beautiful as always. I just feel peaceful. And I almost ruined this peace to do nothing. I almost didn't make a video. And the only excuse I have is because I felt like I just wanted to relax. It took a little convincing to pull the camera out and talk here, because the world wants to distract you from achieving success. Everybody wants to bring you down to their level, especially when they feel bad about themselves. They would rather you feel bad about yourself than them being happy about your success. And you know, today, I chose to pick up this camera to face the adversity at hand, to face the negativity, the feeling of being judged. Because sometimes even I feel that, and I'm just a small content creator. I'm the prince. Yet I fear judgment. But the only judgment I should fear, really, is the judgment from God. And I know this too. But at times, because of a world we live in with envy, with pride, it's hard to put yourself out there, feeling like you could possibly be dejected, or foregone, or even worse, criticized. In the world we live in, everybody's privacy is at stake. We feel so exposed because we are. It takes one accusation, one phone call, run a report, and your life could be over. People are so quick to press the button on these things, to point fingers, to put blame, to put other people down, to ruin their lives over what? A simple misunderstanding. And false accusations ruin lives all the time. And people use it as a weapon for selfish gain. So in a perfect world, what would the alternative be? Well, obviously we'd need justice for the actual wrongdoing in this world. But in a perfect world, people wouldn't be liars. People wouldn't have much of a reason to lie. In fact, people would actually be brave and work out their issues between each other. But because we live in such a cowardly world, because I can't speak right now, I don't know why. Because everybody is such cowards that they would rather have somebody else deal with their problems. And that somebody else usually ends up being the government, the legal system, that kind of stuff. They turn to these forces because they don't know how to deal with their own issues. They don't know how to have restraint. They don't know how to not give in to temptations. And since they lack accountability, they take it out on other people. And I can think of so many examples of this. Think the divorce rates nowadays. How people, and mostly people who are promiscuous or cheaters in their past are the ones who usually initiate divorce in the first place. Just think about that. And that kind of example could go basically anywhere else and have similar things going on there too. In a perfect world, no man would be left behind. Nobody would become the black sheep. Nobody would be the scapegoat. And the reason we have these in the first place is because of our iniquities. The reason you feel so dejected and other from the world is because it's true. And it's wrong. And you know it's wrong, and they know it's wrong, and they're doing it still anyway. It's a disappointment. And I pray for those people because they need it. They need the strength to overcome their desire, their sins. Just because it feels good in the moment, it will not stay that way forever. It will catch up with you, and you will have regrets. But it's not too late. There's always the option to repent, to fall on your knees and worship, to truly give your life to a higher power, a perfect being, who one day, hopefully, you will join in a perfect universe. That is what I hope. And I hope that's what you hope too. Oh. So, what am I truly getting at here? What am I actually trying to say? Isn't it obvious? We need to work together instead of against other people. If we truly want change for the better, if we want our lives to improve tenfold, you have to give up your ego. You have to give that up. You have to let people help you, no matter how hard it might feel. You might feel like a failure for accepting people's help. But if you help them and they help you, isn't that a parasocial relationship right there? Where everybody wins? Isn't that a neutral good? Or a net good? I think if we all did something like that, even if it was just one person, back and forth, if you help each other, think of what you can achieve with that. Think of how much healing and how much growth you could achieve in a very short amount of time with something like that. And that is what they're trying to take away from us. They're trying to take away our relationships with other people. To give us this sense of pride and give us this sense of independence, like we don't need anybody else. Faulty. And fatal. It'll cause more harm than good. You will feel more alone and isolated than ever. And you'll feel like you can't connect with people. Because that's how they want you to feel. Given the circumstance, I can't help but think, maybe we've been going about this all wrong. You know what? We have gone about this all wrong. It's true. Because the truth is, nobody knows how to talk to each other. Nobody knows how to help each other. And they take that out on other people all the time. They feel bad about their lack of actual social skills. And they go out and harass the scapegoat to make themselves feel better above somebody else. And in a perfect world, let me say it again, nobody gets left behind. Nobody. And of course, because of the world we live in right now, and the world we've always been living in, this world full of sin, ever since the fall of man, it's been the same thing. People causing pain to others because they feel bad about themselves. It's timeless, really. As long as sin remains, so will this dilemma. So what do we do? What do we have to do now? What steps do we take going forward? As your prince, how can I lead people to help one another? These are the things I must think on. These are the things I must ponder about. Because it's very important. We have to get back on the right page. We have to get back on track here. And if we don't, we're just going to keep sinking deeper and deeper. Until what? We hit the very bottom that we're desperately racing to get to. Because if everybody's trying to push each other down underwater so they can get a breath of air, nobody's going to survive. Think about that analogy. If everybody's trying to drag each other down, nobody's going to survive. In fact, you'll just keep going down and down and down until nobody ever can get a breath of air. Nobody. And you can keep pretending all you want. You can keep coping with the fact that you're hurting other people to make yourself feel better, to get that breath of air. But eventually, where will you be? Where will they be? If you're pushing them down, they're also dragging you down with them. You're dragging yourself down by doing that. It's messed up. Truly, it's messed up. And before I go, I just want to say, I'm trying better now. I'm trying to reach out into the void, find myself, become grounded. Because that's what you need me to be, the prince. If I'm going to be a leader, if I'm going to be ruling a kingdom of my own making, I have to find myself in a world that pushed me out, in a place I don't belong anymore, because I've outgrown it, because I don't tolerate it anymore, because it doesn't work. And in that sense, I'm kind of a victim of the circumstance. Because I wouldn't be able to do this in a perfect world. I wouldn't have taken all these issues, all these problems to heart if I didn't feel them, if I didn't have them within myself. I wouldn't be talking about this at length if it didn't matter to me in some way. So I have to be strong. And I want you to be strong too. Going forward. Forego all these influences and influencers. Forego all these temptations and tempters. Leave behind the world that wants to hurt you. And follow the path of righteousness. Find people who love instead of those who hate. Find those who uplift instead of lowering. And above all else, learn to love yourself too. That's my message for today. I love you all very dearly as my subjects. And with all that said, goodbye.